Good morning. Thank God it's Friday, October 17, 2025. And of course, this is Inside Nigeria, your breakfast show on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Ugbebo, and good morning once again. On today's show, we look at what the national papers are saying. And of course, we like to flag up with Nigeria's Friday, foremost Friday newspaper, and that is Leadership Friday. Of course, we have other papers as well on our lineup this morning. Let's go there. Let's see what Leadership Friday is offering this morning. Leadership's leading story is, of course, the aftermath of yesterday's screening of the new electoral chair, Amupitan, which other papers are also leading with. He pledges, among all things, to have a credible election in Nigeria. Let's go there and see how leadership couched it. New electoral chief Amupitan's credible election pledge sparks responses. Confirmed by Senate, electoral herdsman states he will audit IREV, strengthen commission's autonomy. Yaga Africa, others say time will tell, and that is in quotes, time will tell. New electoral chief Amupitan's credible election pledge sparks responses. And underneath that story, we have the picture of the new INEC chairman, Professor Joash Amupitan, answering questions before the Senate and taking a bow during his screening at the National Assembly yesterday. Still on Leadership Friday, security bandits kill 10 security operatives in Zamfara. Kanu fit for trial, says Medical Association. Release of Miriam Sanda, 81 orders not finalized, coming from Minister. Obviously, it's as a response to the backlash the presidency has been receiving over the pardon of some of the 175 convicts that were pardoned by the president. Release of Miriam Sanda, 81 orders not finalized, coming from the minister. Underneath that, varsity lecturers say no progress in talks with government as strike enters 6th day. Senate steps down electoral bill for more consultations, and that takes us to the masthead, to the stories before the masthead, actually. On the news, Dangote seeks legal backing for Nigeria First policy. That story is on page 16 of Leadership Friday. Dangote seeks legal backing for Nigeria First policy. Some Nigerian pilots fly high on Indian hemp, Orji Kalu alleges. This is a trending story since yesterday when the news broke. He alleged that some Nigerian pilots, use Indian hemp while flying. Beside the masthead of Leadership, Lukman eager to join Osimhen at Galatasaray. And that continues on page 30 of Leadership Friday. And with that, we move to the page 3 of the paper where we have our stand. Today's stand is on still on government lecturer stand-ups. Still on government lecturer stand-ups, we are taking some excerpts from today's stand in Leadership. One thing that is gradually becoming the defining feature of the public university system in Nigeria is the resort to strikes by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, as a way of making its grievances known to the authorities. From 1999 to the present, the union has embarked on strikes approximately 20 times, lasting cumulatively for up to 53 months. Some of the strikes by the lecturers included 5 months in 1999, 2001, 3 months, 2002, 2 weeks, 2003, 6 months, 2005, 2 weeks, 2006, 3 days, 2007, 3 months, 2008, 1 week, 2009, 4 months, 2010, 5 months. Others are 2011, 59 days, 2013, 5 months, 2016, 1 week, 2017, 1 month, 2018, 3 months, 2020, 9 months, 2022, 8 months. These are the times duration the ASU, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, have gone on strike in the country starting from 1999 to date. And the reason for these strikes is essentially the same. ASU's position is that the government neglects the nation's public university system, forcing the lecturers to work under a deplorable environment. Like I always say, we go to where the paper actually takes a stand, and that is towards the conclusion of the stand. It says critical stakeholders must allow reason to prevail by taking the necessary steps to avert another prolonged strike, which would have yet another catastrophic impact on the nation's university system. In making this appeal, we are also urging the government to demonstrate good faith in handling the issues at stake. They are not just about lecturers' benefits. A lot has to do with the system as a whole. The infrastructure in the ivory tower that used to be exemplary has decayed over time. Even worse, the quality of teaching has declined, raising doubts about the system's products. That ought to be a source of concern not only to the union, but also the government and other stakeholders. Compromise resulting from discussions around the table is the only viable way out. The present hardline postures can only impair development. Excerpts from today's stand in leadership, and as I always lecture, to the stand leadership as stand is the editorial of the paper, and that means it's the cumulative agreement view of the day of the paper. It's also like that in other papers. We move ahead to the back page of leadership, where we have conversation with Azu. Azu Isiekwane is the senior vice chairman and the editor-in-chief of Leadership newspaper group. And this Friday is writing of Trump, peace deals, and the day after. Today's conversation with Azu. We'll take a quote from that conversation. Recovery must be Palestinian-owned and led, and a two-state solution must be an integral part of any lasting agreement. Quote from today's conversation with Azu of Trump, peace deals, and the day after. We move ahead to Ghana Must Go, and on the news, AGF says why we have not released any inmates pardoned by Tinubu, and Ghana Must Go is asking the AGF, you want to add to the list? I guess not. It's on that note we conclude review of Leadership Friday, Nigeria's foremost Friday newspaper. We move ahead to the next paper, but don't forget to log into the website of Leadership Friday for continuation of those headline stories, www.leadership.ng. The next paper we have on our lineup this Friday is The Nation. The Nation says still on INEC chair, the newly appointed INEC chair was screened yesterday. INEC chair Amupitan, I will confront poll logistics crisis. There is need for Electoral Offences Commission. Senate clears Tinubu's nominee. Leading story on today's The Nation newspaper. Court faces Monday to hear suit on PDP convention. Bayelsa Council chairman quits party as senator joins APC. CNG attracts $1 billion investment. FCT Minister Wike throws jabs at Peter Obi. Towards the masthead of The Nation, Nigeria will surpass IMF's 3.9% growth forecast, say experts. Inflation drop, a reflection of reform. Stock market gains 389 billion naira. The story beneath the masthead of The Nation. And we have politics. Anambra 2025, ADC candidate makes case for people-centered leadership. ABGA committed to credible polls, says Soludo. Governor not defecting to another party. Stories continue on page 34 of the paper. And above the masthead of The Nation, NMA Kanu's ailment not life-threatening. He's free to stand trial. Senate steps down electoral ad bill for wider consultation. And lastly, on the cover of The Nation, NBA police to jointly review tinted glass permit. Presidential clemency list still under review, says AGF. And that concludes review of the front page of The Nation this Friday. For more, log into the website of The Nation newspaper. We move ahead to the next paper we have on our lineup, and that is the Daily Times. Daily Times leading story is on the newly appointed INEC chief. Amupitan's appointment confirmed, denies appearing for Tinubu at presidential tribunal. The story runs on page 2 of the Daily Times. Group demands government action as hunger malnutrition persists in Nigeria. Reps probe mismanagement of OSP cleanup funds in Niger Delta. Reps probe mismanagement of OSP cleanup funds in Niger Delta. NCAA says Orji Kalu's claim on pilots using Indian hemp misleading. That story is on page 13 of the Daily Times. Of course, like we read earlier on the two papers before, the Daily Times, Senator Orji Kalu, former governor of Abia State, alleged that most pilots use Indian hemp while flying. But however, NCAA in response to that says his claim on pilots using Indian hemp is misleading. That story is on page 13 of the Daily Times. Global economy shows resilience despite rising uncertainty, says IMF. Witness confirms Arik owed 71 billion naira before AMCON takeover in ongoing fraud trial. And that also takes us to the sole story about the masthead of the Daily Times. Presidential clemency under review, no image released yet, says AGF. And that concludes the review of front headline stories on the Daily Times newspaper this Friday. For more, log into the website of the Daily Times. We'll move ahead to the next paper we have on our lineup, and that is Nigerian Tribune. Like I mentioned earlier, all the papers today's leading stories is on the screen. INEC chair yesterday, who was eventually cleared by the Senate, and of course, Nigerian Tribune is no exception. The leading story says, "My agenda for INEC, Amupitan." Senate confirms its own nomination, says improvement of logistics, Electoral Offences Commission imperative, speaks on beavers, IREF may consider drones for logistics. Credible elections will promote public confidence, he declares. Kickers to the leading story on Nigerian Tribune this Friday, October 17, 2025. My agenda for INEC, Amupitan. Withheld also local government funds, state AG can sue on behalf of local governments. Abuja court rules. Nnamdi Kanu's ailment not life-threatening, failed to stand trial, NMA test court. Kogi government raises bandits camp, arrest two suspects. 2026 Hajj, NACON makes states to review fare as Saudi Arabia reduces Nigerians close to 66,910. PDP unshaken by defections, ready for landmark convention in Ibadan, Fintri. Court reaffirms order on parties not to take any step on PDP convention. Ekiti has enjoyed rapid economic growth in 3 years. Oyembaji names new school after former speaker Afuye. Minority leader dumps SDP for APC. And that takes us to the stories about the masthead of Nigerian Tribune. Presidential prerogative of mercy at review stage, not final, AGF. Rivers government cancels 134 billion naira secretariat reconstruction contract awarded by IBAS. And that also concludes review of front headline stories on the Nigerian Tribune this Friday. For more, log into the website of the Nigerian Tribune. We move ahead to the next paper we have on our lineup, and that is Blueprint. Blueprint says elections under me will be credible. Amupitan assures Nigerians. National voter register contains 93,469,008 voters. INEC. Electoral Act amendment suffers setback in Senate. Leading story on today's Blueprint newspaper. Elections under me will be credible. Amupitan assures Nigerians. Amnesty for 175 ex-convicts still under review. Federal government says implementation will affect only those qualified. Wike tackles OB on state of FCT schools. Polaris Bank reinforces commitment to customer care. Reps direct GEDC to remit 72 billion naira to federal government. Jonathan Oni Jega Lawon He NILDSDG Suleiman's reforms. Agency reviews 1,300 Bs, conduct 700 trainings. And that takes us to the stories just beneath the masthead of Blueprint newspaper. Ohaneze Disonsowore article released Nnamdi Kanu protest. Sex Medan signed MOU to boost SME access to capital markets. And in sports playoffs, Ajayi suspended for Gabon tie. And that also concludes review of front headline stories on Blueprint newspaper this Friday. For more, log into the website of Blueprint newspaper, www.blueprint.ng. From Blueprint to move over to the last paper we have on our lineup this Friday, and that, of course, is Vanguard. Vanguard is no exception, is leading with the new INEC chair, Amupitan story. INEC, in my time, losers will congratulate winners, Amupitan. Gets Senate confirmation as INEC chairman, promises to work with NIMC, NCC, others to improve polls. Our audit IREF to identify glitches that undermined 2023 elections. Says it was never in Tinubu's election legal team. Electoral Act amendment suffers setback. Kickers to this Vanguard's leading story today, this Friday. In my time, losers will congratulate winners. Still on Vanguard newspaper, users' rapid data depletion threatens telecom sector growth. Sector's $1 billion gain at risk class action. Subscribers accuse telcos of manipulations threatening class action. Telcos dismiss allegation as baseless. We'll take that second leading story on Vanguard this Friday once again. Users' rapid data depletion threatens telecom sector growth. Sector's $1 billion gain at risk. Subscribers accuse telcos of manipulations threatening class action. Telcos dismiss allegation as baseless. That story runs on page 14 of Vanguard. Rivers revokes 134 billion naira contract awarded by BAS, others refund. 2027 APC moles have taken over INC, scribe cries out. And in sports, 2026 World Cup playoffs, 14 billion naira windfall from FIFA awaits NFF if there's a condition there. Of course, you have to find out when you log into the website of Vanguard or continue to page 30 for more of the story. We move ahead to the masthead. Up top, the masthead, National Grid loses 4,091 megawatts in September. While we have not released emails pardoned by Tinubu AGF, suicide takes center stage as Vanguard's third mental health summit holds today. Presidential pardon, Macaulay shouldn't have been lumped with ex-convicts family. And that also concludes review of front headline stories on Vanguard this Friday. For more, log in to the website of Vanguard newspaper, www.vanguardngr.com. One viewers is on that note to conclude today's Inside Nigeria Leadership Television. For more, log in to the website of Leadership, www.leadership.ng, and don't also forget to subscribe to all our social media handles for continuation of these stories. Don't also forget to log into this station for news on the hour. My name is Unified Web. Until you're coming your way again, thank you for joining in.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last word, ladies.